Caterpillar, or CAT, is one of the top brands in construction, farming, mining, and really any other industry that has heavy equipment, but they are a lot less known for their footwear. So we got 3 of Caterpillar's boots. We're gonna cut them in half, run them through our test to really figure out, are CAT boots good? Are their boots actual boots for work and construction, or are they just fashion boots? Should you consider buying a pair of CAT boots? And ultimately, is this just a cash grab? Is this CAT using their good industrial equipment name to sell a terrible product? So what are the contenders? Well, first, the brand is CAT. The style is the Threshold Rebound Waterproof Composition Toe Work Boot. They weigh 1 pound 8 ounces. They retail for $145. They're made in Bangladesh, and the way they position this product is comfort is crucial when you're working outside. The Threshold Rebound Waterproof Composite is built with heavy cushioning and uncompromising support, making it our most resilient boot yet. Next, the brand is CAT. The style is the Invader Mid-Vent Composite Toe Work Boot. They weigh 1 pound 12 ounces. They retail for $125. They're made in Vietnam, and the way they position this product is unbeatable traction, uncompromising support, and unwavering confidence. This is the Invader Mid-Vent. Built with outdoor-inspired details and in line with Caterpillar's heritage, this is a shoe with all the benefits of massive machinery. Interesting claim. And that's one thing I do like about these. They are chunky, they are luggy, and that's also why I was like, are these for style, or are these actually for like work, you know? And then finally, to the one that looks the most like Timberland. Like, this is clearly an attempt at making a Timberland style boot that's really popular in construction and blue collar work. Brand is CAT. The style is the Second Shift Steel Toe Work Boot. They weigh 2 pounds even. They retail for $115. They're made in China, and the way they position this product is the Second Shift Steel Toe Work Boot delivers protection, comfort, and durability to get you through your day regardless of the work at hand. Rugged styling and quality leathers make this boot an easy everyday choice on and off the job. And if you want any of these boots, excluding Toasty, you can check them out via links in my description. If there's one sponsor that I've turned more of my friends on to, recommend it to more family, and then convince people to invest in, it's Factor. And that's because it's so freaking easy, and it's the most convenient way to get good nutrition without spending a fortune, without spending all your time cooking. Because Factor allows you to eat stress-free with their delicious, ready-to-eat meals, and everyone is never frozen. They're fresh. Then all you do is put it in the fridge, and when you're ready to eat, pop it in the microwave for 2 minutes, and you're good to go. And they have a bunch of add-ons, 60+ add-ons each week: breakfast, lunch on the go, snacks, beverages. They got some really tasty shakes that I've had. And there's one thing that completely changed the whole Factor thing for me. Use your air fryer. I'm so behind on the air fryer thing, but it completely changed the meals. But for me, it's more than just what tastes good and what feels good in my body. It's not cheap. Don't get me wrong, but it's way cheaper than me ordering on one of the apps and having it delivered and waiting 45 minutes, and it's cold and you don't even get what you want, and it's not healthy for you. Factor solves that problem, and that's why I like the flexibility of it all, because you can choose anywhere from 4 to 18 meals a week. You can change the quantity week to week. You can pause it. You can have your deliveries delivered to somewhere else. Like, for instance, I went on a 2-week vacation, and instead of dealing with that, I'm just gonna have my orders delivered to my cabin in the woods that I'm vacationing in. So thanks to Factor 75 for sponsoring today's video. Use a link to get 50% off and free shipping on your first Factor box. And thanks again to Factor for sponsoring this video. So what are these boots? How do they land in the industry? Like, what kind of work boots are these? What price range? Well, they're all under $150. And most of our, your affordable work boots, the average work boots that every guy gets, they're usually $175 to $250, some of the more known brands like Ariat, Wolverine, Georgia. And these are a little bit closer to, I'd call them more budget work boots, because anything under $100, 9 times out of 10 you want to stay away from. But that's what's interesting about this. Is this actually that budget work boot range from $100 to $150? Or is this like a $75 boot that CAT slapped their name on to make a big profit off? Because other work boots in this price range, you've got Duluth, Carhartt, Rock Rooster, Brunt, and a lot of those brands in this price range, we've kind of busted selling products that are not really worth the price, maybe selling their name more than the actual product themselves. So let's start going through the details and see if we can figure out what these are and if they're worth the price and all those questions we posed at the beginning. So let's start with the leather, just going down the line in order. The Threshold, they say it's quality full grain leather upper, durable, protective, and abrasion resistant. This is clearly a nubuck leather. This is a super common issue across the entire internet. Full grain means it has the entirety of the grain. Nubuck, they sand that grain down a little bit to hide some of the flaws and imperfections. It helps a little bit with the water resistance, but it's just kind of the classic work boot look. It's 2.2 millimeters thick, so pretty thick, anything above 2 millimeters, what you see in work boots. Has plenty of the grain left in it. Burned like there's no plastic in it, so it seems like it's pretty solid leather. It's a little bit on the dry side, but that's pretty common for this nubuck style. It took 54 pounds to puncture through, so through and through, it's really not bad for the price range. It's not the best leather in the world, but we've seen a lot worse leather from a lot more expensive boots. Looking at the Invader, I thought this was fake leather. I might have even said it was fake leather in the unboxing. Fake leather. All right, you had me for a sec. but it's just heavily coated. And some of these parts are fake leather or rubber that's made to look like leather over here, but it is leather. I burned it like 3 different ways. So it might be to help with some water protection, might be some other reasons for it, but I think more than anything for an affordable work boot in this more style, you can tell this is not like an overt work boot style. You can wear these to work, but it's also a little bit of a leap more towards this fashion style in my opinion, because of like the tractor kind of styling, the really luggy. Also, it kind of looks like those Converse that people wear that are really like platformy and big. And so maybe part of it was using a highly finished leather, and that's the only reason. Either way, it's a little more on the thin side. It's 1.6 millimeters thick, more towards the sneaker side of things. It doesn't have nearly any grain in it at all, so it's more of a refinished suede leather. And surprisingly, it took 118 pounds to puncture through. And so even though it's thinner and a worse cut than the previous ones, it performed better in the puncture test. Then if we look at the second shift, they say it's a quality oiled full grain leather or nubuck, deliver long-term durability and protection. And this is basically the exact same leather as the Threshold. It's a little bit thinner, 2 millimeters thick, about the same cross-section amount of grain, took 77 pounds to puncture through, no plastic top coat when we melted it. So I think it's either the exact same leather or very similar leather. Based off the performance, the Invader performed pretty well, but I would still take these two leathers over the Invader leather. And as for linings, it's just a very standard lining. It's kind of like a jersey material. And looking at the insole, pretty basic insole, open cell foam. And you can see that this is a little bit more on the narrow side just from the shape of the insole, because this is your lace to toe pattern where you can really cinch down all the way to your toes to really support your feet. Roofers really like this kind of lace to toe because the front of their foot's not slipping around on the inside of their boot. But it's something you need to keep in mind, because some people that have really wide feet will have to end up skipping a lace because they need the extra width and they don't want to tighten it down. And as for the waterproof test, passed with flying colors, but over here on this fabric, it does absorb some of that water. The Invader, on the other hand, doesn't claim to be waterproof. It's not waterproof. We did the waterproof test and it leaked all the way through all the obvious spots. And as for the lining, it's exact same lining as the Threshold. Similar insole, but this is more of a closed-celled foam. It doesn't feel as nice. This feels more like an Ortholite where it's a really responsive open cell foam. This feels more like a kind of packing foam style. Then to the second shift, it is also waterproof, passed the waterproof test, has almost the exact same lining. All three are this 100% recycled post-industrial lining. This one also has a different insole too. This feels more like your high responsive foam you see with Ultra Boost. Kind of has that feel to it. So you've got open cell foam like Ortholite, you've got this more cheap like packing kind of foam, and then you've got a more high performance foam. Is what it feels like. And underneath of all three of these is where you start to see some of the differences potentially in quality. We'll see when we get it cut in half. But on the Thresholds, you have a lasting material that isn't strobel stitched. It's just glued into the bottom of the boot. And I can't pull it up, so we'll see how it's all structured when we get it cut in half. Versus the Invader is similar. It has almost a regular sneaker lasting material, but it's actually strobel stitched like a true sneakers construction. And then to the second shift, this is built more like your true waterproof boots, where the waterproof bootie wraps all the way underneath your foot, including the lining, and it's got a seam right down the middle of the shoe. And so out of the three of them, it seems like for lining and construction off the bat, it seems like the second shift might be the best built, and then honestly to the Invader, and then to the Threshold. But we don't know. There might be some layers underneath there. It might be strobel stitched underneath of that, because I can see a little stitch in there. I just can't get it removed enough to see what it's doing. Next layer down is the midsole, and you've got two more modern style boots and one semi-traditional, because the Thresholds has a really soft foam at about 25 Shore A, really squishy. You can feel that squish underneath your foot. It's very comfortable. The Invader's a little bit harder at 35 Shore A. You get a little more stable of a platform, and maybe that's because there's more foam in this, because it looks like it's a very substantial, chunky boot. We'll see how much foam's in there. We get it cut in half. And then to the Caterpillar, there is no visible midsole, because this looks to be a true Goodyear welt construction. If I pull that upper side, I see glue, but it has that midsole that makes me think it is a Goodyear welt construction. Because if you look at the next layer down with the outsole, you can see these two are bonded together. There's no stitching. It's more your modern style boot. The Threshold comes in at about a 65 Shore A, so a little bit lower than like your harder Vibram outsole, so you're gonna be a little bit more grippy. It's a rubber. It has all your slip resistance, oil resistance, SRX. We did the bar drop test, bounced up 6 inches, and we did the puncture test through the sole. It took 102 pounds to puncture through. Compare that to the Invader, which this rubber is a little bit harder, closer to 70 Shore A, but it might just be how we're measuring on the outside. The bar drop test bounced up 5 inches. The puncture test also took more at 128 pounds. So this boot is confusing. I don't know if it's a real work boot or if it's not. Then to the second shift, it's a rubber outsole. It's about 60 Shore A, so pretty soft. And I do like this pattern. It does look like a Caterpillar track. I liked that it's sewn at the toe to give a little bit of extra reinforcement. We did the bar drop test on it, bounced up 6 3/4 inches, and the puncture test took 156 pounds to puncture through. But let's cut them in half, find out, see if there's anything on the inside, how they're structured on the inside, because that's where, especially with this price range of boot, no matter how reputable the brand is, there always is corners cut, and that's where they hide them, is on the inside. So let's cut them in half. we got them cut in half, so let's see what's inside. So what do we have on the inside? Well, if you look at the thresholds first, this is like your more modern work boots. You have a nylon style shank. You've got that really soft foam midsole, that pretty thick and substantial enough rubber outsole. As for that piece of concern we had with this lasting material just being glued in, it is just glued in and you can mostly pull it out. You know, it's got this patch here at the toe for the steel toe that really ties it in. So this stitch underneath it here is not a Strobel stitch to the Strobel board. It's just stitching on almost like a canvas gemming that helps it bond. So far from the sturdiest construction, but it is a very affordable work boot. Let's see how it compares to these other ones, because the Invader, similar style, but it actually has that Strobel stitch construction, has that nylon shank, has that same soft midsole. It's a little bit harder than the Threshold. And this is not injection molded. You can see there's some gaps in the foam compared to the outsole, but the outsole is fairly solid all the way through. You know, it's not gonna be nearly as durable. It's not gonna last as long as maybe a $250 injection molded outsole and midsole combination, but this outsole is so luggy and it wraps up so much through the sides that I wouldn't really have that much concern of it delaminating just from how chunky it is. But out of the two of these, which one's better? This Invader's better. I honestly thought these would be swapped in a couple ways because this seems more like a half casual. This seems like a full-on work boot, especially for like roofers and people that need that support of a lace to toe. And then you look at the second shift, and this is a traditionally made boot. It is truly Goodyear welted, which surprised me. You know, it doesn't have a leather lasting board, and it's not like it's not a leather welt, but it does have that above Timberland, which is I think just a glued construction. And it's pretty interesting on the inside because you do have a fiberboard. You can see that waterproof booty that runs around the entirety of the shoe. You got a steel shank in there, and then you have a layer of, I don't even know what it is if I'm being honest. It's like a supported fibery foam that acts as the midsole where that gap's created by that Goodyear welt. Then you have a true midsole that the outsole is glued to. And this outsole, I thought for sure for the price range you'd see all the voids in here. We've seen in even more expensive boots that are work boots. So you'd have to wear through 12 millimeters of rubber through the bottom, 10, 11 millimeters. Through the biggest lugs are about 12 millimeters. So this, honestly, out of the three is the most work boot. So how do these others two rank on, like, is it a work boot, is it a fashion boot? These two are kind of hard because honestly, I wish they would have combined the best attributes of both and made this a higher quality boot for real workers and maybe this more for half work, half casual. But I would say if you're gonna get a work boot from Caterpillar, you get one of their actual work boots because they're half casual looking boots. They still look like they're built to the same quality, but for me, I'd rather just go with a full-on work boot. And so if I were choosing one out of the two for a work boot, I'd still go with the Threshold. I think it's a better boot overall. So then what are the big red flags? What do you need to be aware of and be concerned about with Cat as a work boot brand in this budget work boot range? Well, there's a couple things, right? There's some goofy leather here and there. There's some interesting choices in design and construction without the Strobel stitch. But the one big concern I have with this is these two boots, because they're metal free, they're rated for shock and everything, they have to do non-metal eyelets. But at the end of the day, it's a harder synthetic material versus brass or a metal like these on their more traditional boot. And obviously a big part of that is because it's electrical hazard safe, but it's something to keep in mind. It's something to look out for because if you don't care about the electrical hazard, I would err on the side of getting a steel or brass eyelet setup. So then what do I think overall about this and the Cat boot brand? What are the questions we posed at the beginning? Well, are Cat boots good? For the price range, they're good. You gotta kind of keep an eye out for some things here and there, the leather quality, how it's constructed, but for the price range, they're right on par with the rest of the boots, if not a little bit better. Especially this more traditionally made one. Are their boots just a cash grab, similar to what Carhartt's doing? I think it is a little bit of that, if we're being honest, because you know that's what half of these boots are doing, is trying to make affordable enough boots that people want to buy them for work boot, take a gamble on them, wear them as maybe a half casual, kind of steel toe style boot. And so I think it is part of the strategy to make really affordable work boots that you can work in, but also seem to be positioned towards half casual. So the answer to me is like yes and no. Should you consider buying a pair of Cat work boots? If you have an extra $100, I would go to the next level up. You get a few more comfortable options, a few more higher quality materials that you might not have to resole as fast, but I still think these are within that range of acceptability. You know, if they were built more like some of those really cheap Brunts or some of the other cheap boots under $100, I would say stay away. At this $100, $125 price point, is that right at that threshold of acceptable work boots generally. So then what is my overall takeaway? They are affordable work boots. They are work boots. They're gonna last you about as long as a $100 and $150 work boot, but I just kind of wish Cat was making more expensive work boots. Not everyone can afford them, and they're going after a specific demographic, but it'd be cool to have Cat's heritage and their high quality, expensive machinery ethos infused into the work boot range. You know, like how do we make the Cat work boots, not how do we make work boots that we can put the Cat name on. And maybe some of their higher price stuff is better quality, but these are their more budget stuff that I really wanted to cover first. So if you want to see me cut apart all their more expensive stuff, let me know. So finally, if I were to rank these from best to worst, I would go 1, 2, 3. From comfortable to least comfortable, I'd probably go 1, 2, 3. And which one would I buy if I only could buy one of these work boots? I would probably buy the second shift. It's more traditional. It's not gonna be as comfortable, but for a hardy, heavy duty work boot, it has all the components and features you need for the dependability that you're really not gambling on this boot nearly as much as the more modern boots for this price range. So let me know what you guys think, your experience in these, and what you wish Cat was doing, what you think of their branding. Do you think they're a sellout? Do you think they're good work boots? Let me know below, and thank you guys for watching this. See ya.